Battle control initialized.
What's up, guys? It's back with some more Combined Arms content. This tournament is an absolute banger so far. I think I'm going to end up casting every series matchup because they're just that good. This one, we have Hyper playing as Shadow in this bottom left position, and in the top right is going to be Whocares playing as Collector 73. We are on Marigold Town, pretty famous map from Supernovae. Got a lot of gems in your starting mine, but kind of a really weak Yoko here. There's a decent amount of tip back here for you. I feel like there's more in RA just with the ORA, but this tends to run out pretty quickly. You got a double mine here, which is very easy to just kind of seal off, park an MCV here, build a bunch of defenses. And then you kind of get into a very open, like late game, 2 tip trees out here, 1 here, and then kind of like just 1 in reserve. It's very hard to get all of this. I feel like games kind of tend to end somewhere around here just because it's so hard to control. Very big map. Got Oil Derrick in the middle here, possible here, and then 1 Oil Derrick each. It looks like Hyper is gearing up towards that middle where Whocares grabbing his safe oil. You can also see a lot of people who just go and try to snipe this because everybody's going to rally their troops down here. So it's very easy to just lose this. I mean, you'll get your money back, that nice $300 refund, and then $100 tick comes shortly after. Yeah, Hyper going to push in here. I think he's going to have a good position. Whocares just sending 1 warrior. Looks like he's going for the hospital first. Not a bad idea. He is Scrin. Hyper could also advantage from that hospital. 1 warrior going down. Ooh, that engineer getting a little close, but going away. This engineer also being a little brave, but I think Hyper's rifles are in a little bit better position. These warriors are going to get pushed back. And so far, he hasn't lost a single thing, taking 500-0. That is pretty good so far. He's down to 1200. Got some more reinforcements coming in. Oh, and he went double engineer as well, so that is very expensive. Both these players going double ref and splitting the refs. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Maybe they don't want to build an extra ref, but I think you're just better off doing that anyways. Hyper also building another engineer. Wow, so these guys really want this hospital. You get a nice medic when you do get the hospital, so it's more like a $200 investment, and then you'll keep producing medics out of the hospital. You also get like a nice little heal range from it, rather than a global thing like you do in RA. So hospitals can be definitely worth it. I just kind of wanted to keep them alive and figuring out when you want to go for him. I feel like this is very early to go for. This engineer just kind of stuck in no man's land. That scout getting pushed down. Gonna get it, and there we go. So we got a rejuvenator for Scrin. Everybody else gets a medic. Rejuvenator, same thing. It's just the Scrin version of a medic. Hyper probably gonna go back and instantly decap this hospital. I don't think he gets the medic now. I think it'll be on the timer. Kind of like Oil Derrick's. You only get that refund when it's a neutral structure. Whocares a little bit behind on his War Factory, and Hyper already moving out with his MC. Gonna go to that top patch. No reason to go to this middle just yet. Oh, it looks like you do instantly get the medic too, so that is nice, but Whocares is gonna be able to take this. He's gonna lose all of this infantry. I think Whocares is gonna like this a lot. Does get the medic out of there, which is nice. Loses the Oil Derrick, only gets the $100 rebate that time. And there's a single rifle scouting in. Whocares is not moving out yet. What is he going? Is he going for? Yep, he's going for radar. So, oh, Hyper not building anything out of his War Factory. Not out of his Conyard, rather. Not yet, at least. He's got the money, so he's just a little bit slow there. Probably too busy microing. Got 2 big gigs out, but that is a lot of worries to deal with. Probably should just go ahead and kill this Oil Derrick. If you want to recapture it, you can. But every time it 6, it's just another $100 free towards Whocares. 1 interloper out here, no disintegrator, so this is kind of a weird build. I mean, no rockets for either player right now, so a little crazy. Rejuvenator definitely getting its money's worth now. I feel like that's at least 6 or 7 pings of health that I've heard. Hyper gonna get a great scout here, sees that there is a nerf center. Probably sees that harvester is just built, and sees that there's advanced power plant coming out, so really good scouting there. I don't think Whocares has any idea, so he has no idea where Hyper is. And it's kind of fine since he's kind of teching into tech real quickly. Plasma cannons, my arch nemesis. These things are like a pillbox and a turret all combined in one. And they can pretty much solo other defenses. They'll solo 2 tanks, which is super annoying. They are just absolutely beefy. Only 725, so like barely more than a pillbox. Defenses in this game are absolutely nuts. But there's also units that just wreck defenses. It's balanced around that. They are very scary. You have to be very careful because your army can instantly be deleted if you come in wrong. So Hyper got a ref out here finally. Straight going into tier 2 as well. Kind of what I expect this game to be. I don't feel like Nod wants to stay on tier 2 tier 1 for too long. Screen with these interlopers and Ravager combo. Super good. Buggy just poking around here a little bit. One disintegrator here, and I think this Buggy could probably kill all that if he wants to, but I think he's just using this to keep scouting. I like his scouting here a lot, actually. Something that some people in Combined Arms and ORA both pretty inefficient at, just not constantly doing it. Got a little bit more vision here in Combined Arms, so it's a little bit easier to scout, and in both games, ORA and Combined Arms, if you don't scout something, it can easily swing a battle pretty bad. A few rockets finally coming out, and I mean, I guess it makes sense if Whocares is going to go into more of like a Ravager Interloper or Ravager Intruder like combo, maybe with Gunwalkers as well. You don't really need a whole lot of rockets. But he's kind of just splitting here. A lot of Intruders, a little bit of rockets, and a lot of just Warriors, one Gunwalker, so I'm not sure. He's just kind of splitting the difference there. And he's got a strong right out, so this is honestly kind of a weird build for me, I think. I mean, it's going to work against this combination, but I think that's just because he's not have any artillery units just yet. If artillery units start coming out, this combination will absolutely get wrecked. Storm Rider here, probably going to do some scouting, just picking off a few rifle scouts. Not a bad idea at all. Hyper going to expand back down. Not sure why he's redeploying. Maybe he wants a obelisk up here. First stealth tank is out. These guys got any upgrades going on just yet? Nope, not yet. It's kind of surprising. But again, we got upgrade as soon as I speak it. Coalescence for those leechers, so we're going to start seeing those leechers coming out. First one is already out. We might have our first big engagement of this battle. One rifle scout gonna instantly zap. Oh, Hyper's kind of in bad position here. He gets the tanks in front. I don't think he has the armor though. He's got still tanks to support, but he needs to kill that interloper. Oh, it's gonna be close, but I think Hyper is gonna get pushed back here. Last tank going down. Artillery getting some good shots, but not deleting those units. The Intruders are super tanky, and Hyper gets pushed back. Kind of hard to hear, but there is a mastermind out. Yes, it is. And there is an obelisk in front that will shut this down. Currently a bug that the leecher orbs are invisible, but you can kind of see them just with both bars. Yeah, no, Hyper is getting demolished right now. Mastermind coming in. I don't think he can stop this now. He's got 3 tanks, and Mastermind does not care about your tanks. And all these Intruders are just almost one-shotting those tanks. Leech goes down. Put Rat in here. Just gonna mute that. Yeah, bro, you. There goes one tank getting captured. And Hyper is in so much trouble here. I don't think there's much of anything he can do at all. This Rejuvenator just healing up those Intruders, which is so annoying. And that is the last of his combat units. And with that, it is GG for game 1. That was pretty much just a masterclass there by Whocares. Those leechers being pretty effective, the Intruders being super good. So yeah, I guess the light tanks weren't enough for that combination. Didn't really need a whole lot of anything else, and the artillery was just a little bit late. I think you need at least 3 or 4 of them to kind of deal with all that infantry, but yeah, we'll jump up to game 2. Alright, we are back here for game 2. This time we had Hod and Hoodrat in there, but we're going to go ahead and mute them. We don't want to talk to them. Both players sticking with the same factions, Shadow and Collector 73. This time we were on the Ruined Kingdom. Got your big tip patch here, some gems if you want to burn a refinery for them. Double mine here, kind of just depends on which way you want to expand. There is a lot of money in the long run, but not in the short run on this map. This expansion is quite small. This one's a little bit bigger. I think most people just kind of tend to go up here since it's a little bit shorter. These gems can be nice too, but they do run out, and it is still a gamble. I'm not sure which is better to place a refinery here or just focus on this and long distance mine this. I guess it's just gonna depend on what you do. Looks like both players going for their opposite oil derricks. Hyper is going to push this close oil derrick to Whocares. Whocares just building engineer down here, so he's going to try to hold this. I think I like Hyper's play a little bit better here. It's really hard to hold these oil derricks with them being so close to your enemy. You have to spend a lot of assets to do it, which, I mean, if you can, chances are, you know, if you can hold, you're going to win, just because that means your opponent traded so poorly. But I think most of the time it just becomes a wash, and then they can kind of kill these, and you'll just be down a little bit, recapture them. Unless you can capture all 4, obviously that'll be great. Oh, and he's gonna split up top. Yeah, okay, I definitely don't like the split. Hyper is definitely gonna be able to push in here, totally fine, and he's got another wave of infantry coming in. He's, oh yeah, stalling a little too much, but he's gonna get that gem refund, which would be nice. That horse just sliding in sideways. That was interesting. I don't know if Dark knows about that. That might be a bug. I think just a warrior went down here. Yes, and he's gonna kill this whole Derek. So 3 engineers out for Whocares now. I think that's a bit of an over investment, considering he only has 1,400 in warriors. Hyper's gonna push in here with the scout. Oh, and he's gonna see the engineer. That is huge. That is so annoying. He's gonna go ahead and kill those Oldrakes as well. Unfortunately, he's blind scouting with his engineer. Thinks better of it. Probably gonna lose both those engineers since Whocares is rallying down here. Partially getting another gem load. I think it's like pretty much double the money. It might be 1.83 overall. I think the same thing as ORA. Both players up, double ref here. Whocares is going to get that Oldrak and that refund. An engineer barely out of sight, I think, runs away. Yeah, Hyper's going to bring down all his engineers over here. Looks like he did lose 1 engineer as well. And move out that main CV. So not triple roughing here. Whocares triple roughing? Nope, he's going straight into tier 2 again. So very similar build order to last time. Although Hyper has to be very careful here. If he's going straight into tanks on 2 harvesters, that is not going to be good, especially with this long distance mining now. But he is going to push Whocares off this battle. Although he's taking a pretty good engagement so far. This might be rough for Hyper. Eventually the mass out wins there, but lost a little bit more than he probably cared to like. Both his Oldrak's going to go down. Yep, I like this. Kill this one. Recapture the husk later. Keep this one alive so it's full health. Whocares might got an extra $100 out of it, but it's definitely probably better. Interloper coming out here again, and a lot of rifles. There is a few rockets for Hyper, just 3 of them. Not enough for an interloper and all those warriors, but it's a good start. 2 light tanks out. I think he'll be okay. The lack of rocket or disintegrator is going to hurt unless he gets the perfect angle like this. I think Hyper's going to get these tanks in position. And that interloper going down super quick, and all these warriors are pretty much forfeit. Whocares is going to try to retreat, but I don't think any of those are going to get away. This one's probably going to get prone just a second, and the rifles will catch up. And dead. So that was a huge swing there, 56 to 19. It's looking pretty good for Hyper. He's going to start pushing on the main base here. What is Whocares building? He's building intruders, and he's building... Is that another harvester? It is another harvester. That is not what he needs right now. This war factory actually might go down. I don't think Whocares can hold this. The 2 tanks and only 1 anti-tank unit right now. Tries to crush all the harvester, but good micro here from Hyper so far. Just clean up these warriors. Probably be using the rockets to target the harvesters, but there we go. True intruders finally going to kill the light tanks. But Whocares, I think he's still in trouble here. He might lose 1 or 2 of these harvesters, or the war factory if Hyper decides to focus on it, and that's what he is doing. One more gunwalker comes out and a plasma cannon, but the war factory goes down, and I think that is just a huge win. Hyper is still up and destroyed lost. His army is still ahead. These harvesters have been pulled off the line for a long time. Whocares has no expansion up. Hyper has been macroing up a little bit on this. He's only on 3 harvesters, though. I don't like that. He's going to be stalling pretty hard as soon as this little slush fund runs out. Definitely should have been macroing up a little bit harder on the backside. A little bit less combat units. Maybe not building an Apache. I think that would have been a little better. Going for another ref instead of comm center. But as it stands, he's going to be okay. Just got to fix his eco a little bit. Otherwise, he'll be in trouble. He is coming oh so close to stalling. That is thin maxing to the max. 4 light tanks out and an Apache. This Apache is going to be super annoying since there is 1 gunwalker. I think he can probably kill at least a few of those if he really wants to. But there is a gunwalker there that's probably one of the best anti-air units in this game. Gets 2 of them, backs out. Not a bad idea at all. Gunwalkers just have, seems like 9 cells of AA range, so it's kind of huge. I think Whocares is in a lot of trouble here. Had to build his war factory again, which I totally understand, but now he's going to be stalling pretty shortly since he's out. Does have his gym still as like a backup. But I think, unfortunately, the timing push here is going to be pretty bad. Oh, and this artillery is going to be pretty brutal if he can keep it protected. Just needs to get these light tanks rotating. Oh, I think Whocares probably going to get this light tank, but he might pay with it with one gunwalker, two gunwalkers. One goes down. Oh, the second one barely gets away, but it's still pretty much dead. I think artillery are 600 apiece, so that's a definitely net loss for Whocares there. Luckily, he did keep his barracks alive, which would be absolutely brutal for not having plasma cannons, but Whocares needs every asset that he can pull together right now. Gonna start long distance mining, but he's gonna be broke in just a minute here. And he's got a grab stabilizer out too, which, I mean, I guess he feels like he needs to get that air, which he probably does since there's Apaches out, but man, he is just in a pickle right now. One leecher out. I don't think he really needs artillery. He needs anti-armor, a little bit of anti-air with gunwalkers, and just a lot of warriors. So this is the kind of opposite of what he was doing last time, I feel like. But a lot more warriors. This time he's kind of split again, but with a lot less warriors. Getting a harvester down there just as the refinery comes up, so that is good. Hyper is already up on another expansion. Has he fixed his macro yet? A little bit. He's got 3 harvesters over here, 4 and a 5th one coming out. I think he'd like to be closer to 5 or 7, but it is what it is. Another artillery coming out, and they are 650, so I guess a slightly better trade for one gunwalker for an artillery, but again, this one pretty much dead as a result. And this one getting poked down a little bit. Ooh, the Apache does go down, but so does the Storm Rider. I think I'll take that trade any day, to be honest. Apaches are super good, especially in the wrong hands. He's going to try to focus down this barracks again. I think he's going to get this time. There's just not much that Whocares can really do. I think it's only going to take 2 shots. One more. Oh, just a little bit left, but definitely going to go down. And so now Whocares, once again, is in a lot of trouble. These plasma turrets might go down too, but I think he's just force firing into the shroud. Oh, nearly loses that Storm Rider for free. That is unfortunate. And now he's going to go in. These light tanks will melt, but he does not get the artillery, and that is a problem. Artillery is going to wreck this composition. I feel like Hyper doesn't really need a retreat there. He could definitely take that. He's got so much armor. Yeah, there's a lot of intruders, but with artillery and all your rifles there, I think you're in good shape. Army value, 1.5. I think he'd be okay. Oh, and a light tanker ass up here, instantly getting a harvester. That is huge. Storm Rider goes down. I think he got the artillery, at least one, and a bunch of infantry. But here we go. Artillery not getting great shots just yet, but here we go. I think they're gonna start landing pretty good. Few light tanks still up, but Hyper is barely gonna push through here. Very expensive to do so. One artillery still up. Oh, and those shadow teams on that roof on the backside, that is what I'm talking about. They are so annoying to deal with. Story loss looking strongly in Hyper's favor here. This is definitely his game to lose. Storm Rider gets one of them. Other one lands and dies. The shadow operative getting away for now. It's gonna be super annoying. He can quickly kill that tech center if he gets forgot about. These light tanks over here, they might actually get that harvester. That'll be big. That's a full gem load too. Whocares is down to long distance mining again. But Hyper pulls his tanks away just as that happens. That's alright. I think this game is pretty close to over. Oh man, those artillery are going to be able to poke down that nerve center too. Might get a little far out there. Oh, loses the Apache. What a bait. There's a commando out as well. Oh, and there we go. That tech center is getting pushed. He's going to run away. Good time to run away. Stealth is so hard to deal with. Needs a seeker. Yeah, he's collector, so yeah, seekers, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. It's a traveler that has the lacerator. These 2 tanks probably going to get sacrificed, but if Hyper is smart, he'll know that that pulled his entire army out. But the Spectres are coming out, and they're going to quickly melt that nerve center. Instantly re-stealthing. One more volley, and it's gone, and that is going to cripple Whocares. He really needs these tier 2 units. You do not want to deal with a tier 3 nod with tier 1 screen. That is a bad recipe. Whocares just kind of locust mining this harvester, this tip field rather. But that is going to be pretty much all of Zico. Again, that shadow opera just being super annoying going back in. Don't think it's going to make it out this time. Oh, and that war factory is probably going to get strike down too, and I don't think there's much Whocares can do about that. He's starting to stabilize a little bit army value-wise, but man, he's just going to be so hard on eco. Losing his war factory again is going to be such a huge problem. Just needs one more volley. There you go. Get out of that range. I do like this, sending the light tank in just for vision as well. Gets the war factory right before was about to come out too, which is nice. Light tank did take a bunch of damage, but he's gonna push through. Just gonna... The one time you're allowed to scout with artillery is when they're stealth, so I'm okay with this. Tank drop in the back too, probably to support them. But Whocares is finally moving out, and this is not on Hyper's radar. But the problem is that Hyper is up to tier 3. The cyborgs are out. There's a commando out. Storm Rider does see the commando, but it does not go down. Oh, and he's gonna poke away that refiner. That's so annoying. Not even gonna use the stealth tanks to kill those harpsters, because why not? And Whocares is probably gonna try to base trade here, judging by that drone ship trying to hide in the water. It could be pretty good if this is gonna work. I'm not sure. That commando and all that is gonna be tough to deal with, but Hyper is already expanding again, and he has a lot of his tech up there, so I just don't think this is gonna be enough for Whocares, unfortunately. Oh, loses the Storm Rider too. That is big. He needs to see that this army is coming back. Nice target fire in there, or maybe he's just lucky going on the Gunwalker. But here is the commando, and all that infantry is just getting deleted. Yeah, this did not work out for Whocares. And there is GG. So we're at a 1-1 split here. Hiding that drone ship did not work in the end. Well played by Hyper. Very meticulous about it. Was not trying to throw that game, which was pretty nice to see. There's definitely a lot of people who will try, especially against those plasma cannons. I'm telling you, they are super scary. We will jump into game 3.
Battle control initialized.
All right, we are back here, one apiece. This game will decide everything. Unfortunately, Muhud's you getting kicked out here instantly. But we are on Harmony. One old dark here in the middle. I'm not a huge fan of this map. It just doesn't feel super good to me. The eco is kind of terrible at the start. You can go down here, which has decent eco. I mean, I think you're a little bit better off just being able to move here since you get that extra tree. But that makes you so far away. So you basically only have 6 trees at your disposal until like super late game when you're trying to call all the way across. So I guess games really just kind of thin out. I'm not a huge fan of that at all. I like being able to macro through my games rather than struggling after a certain minute because there's just no eco left on the map, or no accessible eco left on the map at least. Both players sticking with the same factions here. So we have Collector 73 from Whocares, Shadow from Hyper. I'll have to see if there's a divergence in build orders, or they're just going to double ref into tech for Whocares, double ref into an extra refinery, and then tech for Hyper. That seems to be the game plan. Whocares going with an earlier engineer this time, where Hyper is just pumping out a bunch of rifles first. I mean, it doesn't... I mean, I guess if you want to push kind of hard, you can go at rifles first. I think getting an engineer first, just getting that income, which is sorely needed on this map, is a little bit better. Whocares is going to get his engineer in there just fine. That rifle going to go down for Hyper, so yep. Oh, he's thinking he wants to push now. But Whocares is going to be here with his warriors, so this is not going to go super well, I don't think. And as soon as that rifle goes down, I imagine that Hyper is going to push back, and he is indeed. Whocares was in a great position just to roll into that. No, he's going to go back again. I think this might cost Hyper his early army. I guess he's going to be able to get away with sacrificing just one rifle. Whocares definitely has the army advantage right now, I'm pretty sure. No, Hyper 23 to 18. At least the other positional advantage around his oil derrick. Power plant out for Whocares that he just placed. So he's super slow on his war factory. In fact, he is not building a war factory going on right now. What is he doing? I think he might have just forgot that he needs to build a war factory. Hyper is going to be up a war factory. That is actually huge. I know Whocares was playing this at like an off hour. And I've had a few games that were played at like midnight, and it definitely throws you off if you're not used to playing that. So yeah, he's basically 40 seconds behind on a war factory. Hyper is going to get a light tank out first. That could cause some problems for Whocares. All these warriors could go down like game 2. That was kind of a big difference maker. One light tank just kind of tanking all of the warrior rifle fire. Plasma cannon already out as well. I mean, that kind of makes sense when you're playing against Nod. You got to shut down those early bikes if they do it. Plus, you know, you're probably going to move that main MCV out, so leaving a defense there, not a bad idea at all. Second one, again, probably for the bikes, maybe a little bit of an overinvestment, but he should be okay. Man, that War Factory just still not out yet, and Hyper is going to be up on another Harvester, so 3 Harvesters to move out. So again, yep, he's definitely going to build a refinery, I guarantee it. He's going to take that top right expansion, which is nice for that extra tip tree. We'll have to see which way Whocares wants to go when he does expand. But he is going straight into that nerve center again. So unfortunately, he's just kind of behind in this game. Build another Harvester, so he'll be up to 3 Harvesters, which will even him out macro-wise with Hyper, but Hyper already up 2 tanks. And I think his army value is probably going to start to explode here a little bit, 56 to 43. Not terrible, but those 2 tanks will make a world of difference, especially since there is no anti-armor for Whocares. Such a bold choice. I'm not sure I agree with it. I mean, I guess if you are playing super passively like this, it'll be okay, since you can kind of rely on these plasma cannons, as long as you have build radius for means V, but Hyper can just kind of poke here. I mean, you can kind of poke on this Harvester a little bit. That'll be tough for Whocares to deal with. Like a flame tank, if that was coming, that would be absolutely brutal. 1 artillery is coming, which will be nice for this, but I don't think it'll be enough. Intruder's coming out as well, so that's going to be his anti-armor again. So Whocares doing very similar build all 3 games so far. Colony ship moving out to the bottom, doing the same thing Hyper is, but again, Hyper going to be a little bit quicker on it and get that extra ref out. That'll help stabilize his eco, since both these players probably super thin on it. Hyper stalling a little bit. Whocares doing a little bit better. No, the buggy probably going to go down just through a single rifle. That is not ideal, but it did get the scout off that there is a nerve center there. And this is not spotted by Hyper, but I'm assuming he's thinking if there's no expansion here and I don't see the MCV anymore, it must be down here. That is some pretty decent game sense. Advanced power plant getting pushed down there so you can build better. That is going to show that the MCV is there with that rifle scout, which is really nice. Hyper has to be very careful here. He doesn't want to lose these 2 tanks. Doesn't want to take this engagement in the tip field either. You don't want your units turning into Viceroys on you. Whocares got kind of scary army here, but again, I think Hyper just would be able to push in that. The lack of armor. 5 intruders. 2 more coming in. Not that super scary, but that is a lot of rifle difference. 43, 46. And a lot of those back here, so yeah, I think Hyper is in good position. He's going to start poking on the main here, and Whocares' army is going to be out of position. Lack of scouts for him is kind of hurting right now. Here you go, the Harvester getting poked down. Oh, if he goes die, he's straight for the production. I like this too. This is absolutely going to cripple Whocares. At the same time, Hyper is going to have to pull and deal with this army. The Leecher going down, that is pretty big. But I think Hyper is going to take this engagement. Those extra tanks making all of the difference. Not enough anti-armor there again. And artillery helping poking down against those warriors. So Whocares push back into this defense, but that is going to leave up his production. He's going to lose, I think, pretty much everything here. Can't even afford this War Factory. So again, the economy on this map struggling. Leecher coming out. It probably has some staying power here if he wants to turn against that tank. Attack, do it. Oh, he's just going to try to run it away. Don't like that. Again, Hyper going to be able to take this engagement. Those warriors, very expensive, going to go down. And now his War Factory is in a lot of trouble. And it is going to go down. I don't think he can even save his nerve center. Whocares? Hail Mary in it. He's pulling the goalies already. Harvester's going to try to go in for the crush, but so far missing. Storm Rider probably going to save his nerve center, which will be nice. But I can already see that there's a stealth tank out here, so Hyper has been taken up this time. Marking up a little bit too. Already up to tier 3 as well. It is not looking good for Whocares. Nerve center gets sold off, and that is going to be a huge problem with him. He is back down to tier 1 against tier 3 Nod again. Does have a Gravity Ladder, so he can build more Storm Riders, which is nice, but man, he is in a lot of trouble here. Needs to transfer these Harvesters, but there's still infantry here. He's probably going to lose all of his power. That'll hurt as well. Or kill the refinery. That could be also really smart. But I think this Storm Rider will, unless he gets shot down. Does he reveal the stealth tanks? No, he does not want to reveal them. Could have saved those rifles. Probably made the smart play. I don't think those rifles were going to serve too much. And that is probably going to scare Whocares to death. The commando sound is not what he wants to hear. He does not want to know that Hyper is up to tier 3. Artillery going to go down there. And there is a stealth tank. Going to finish off that ref. Great choice. Just going to slow down Whocares' eco even more. I think one artillery did go down. It's always scary to engage stealth tanks with air with the nerfed AA damage. Nerf damage to AA units that air does makes it much more tough to deal with them. This refinery going to go down, and that is going to put Whocares on one active harvester with one shortly coming. At least he's going to be on a full field. But again, this is going to be a very tough hold. Hyper expanding across again too, so this time he's macroing better. I guess we're to play this Insomnia to 5. Yeah, playing that type of time when you're sick too, probably not the best, but that's alright. I think Hyper played these games super well. Anyways, I think Whocares would have struggled. First game definitely swung Whocares' favor. I think that Hyper just made a few mistakes there that are easy to capitalize on. But it's going to be 3 Storm Riders, a handful of infantry versus pretty well scary army. Cyborg is coming out as well. Hyper being gracious here, being like, hey, we didn't have to play it this time, but it happens. I mean, this is a double elimination tournament, so Whocares isn't out just yet. I just got fucked by Legato for the same reason, so don't think I've casted those games before, but I watched them. I think I do remember Legato looking pretty good. At least the tiebreaker definitely was heavily skewed to Legato, so if that was the one. 4 Storm Riders go down, gets the commando, gets 1 more rocket for his shovel, but that is pretty much it for Whocares. It is 1400 to 1400 to 6000. When it gets a refinery up here, long distance mining. Power plants still live, so that's nice. But these Spectre artillery are going to be super annoying to deal with. Probably gonna almost alpha strike that refinery if he really wants to. Maybe come down here and try to alpha strike this one since it's going to be more of his eco lifeline. We'll have to see. He's just going to slowly poke in right now. I like this constant use of the rifle scouts, just kind of seeing where stuff is. This artillery, I'm not sure why he's sending it in the low. Maybe it's just his bait. There you go. Refinery get to take in a big chunk. Artillery goes down. Doesn't really have anything to deal with those Spectres, and if they retarget into that infantry, which they're going to, big hits already. Although Hyper kind of a little bit lazy here. He's losing a lot more than he really needs to. But man, those Cyborgs do so much anti-light and anti-infantry damage. 3 Cyborgs right there, pretty much killing everything. Storm Rider going down. Now the army value's 11,000 to 6,000. So Whocares somehow gained 50 over all that. But man, it's rough for him. And those Spectres just super annoying. You need a Seeker or infantry or base defenses, but just gonna be able to poke around. This refinery is not long for this world. Shadow Operatives doing their thing. Probably gonna get out of here. Oh, barely gonna get caught by the Storm Rider and go down, but they did their job. Spectres can get out scot-free. Commando is back, and I like that Hyper is just constantly keeping pressure here. He knows that if he can kill this ref, then Whocares will be deader than dead. This is his like last lifeline. He tried to expand back up here, but that's really not a threat. There's not a whole lot of tip there at all. Just the 2 power plants. And goodbye Storm Rider, because Cyborg Reaper's super annoying to deal with. Gets the commando again, but sacrifices so much to do it. Every time that Whocares tries to pressure out, Hyper just says no. And now that refinery is going to go down. That is his last servable refinery, and he does not even have the money to rebuild. I think that is it for Whocares. He's going to try to hold out, maybe get some bounty. But what can he really do against this army combination? It is super scary. Laser tank upgrade. Makes sense with the anti-infantry. But he doesn't even really need to push. He can just Spectre him to death. Gets the Disintegrator on his way out too, before dying. Finally got that Seeker out for the stealth tanks, but too little too late. Did get a refinery out though, which is nice, so I think he had to steal something to do it, but works out if he can do it. Doesn't even need that refinery now. Oh, but is going to get the Spectres. That is a nice little pickup here, so he's somehow living on a lifeline until Hyper notices that he's back up here. That'll probably be it for him. Still not paying attention to it, but again, if he can kill this in the army, that'll be more than worth it. And he is macroing up on the backside too, so definitely playing his game strongly this time. Got 2 airstrips out, Temple of Nod, or is that called the Temple? Not Temple Prime. And a barracks house. So 2 barracks, 2 airstrips. This Sims V finally got exposed and is going to go down. 3 stealth tanks, pretty strong. Whocares is going to try to rotate over, but that drone colony definitely going to go down. And now the laser tanks are going to have a field day here since everything was instantly deleted. And that is it for Whocares' army. He has 1 Storm Rider to see how truly scared and screwed he is. The last of the warriors is going to go down. And I know Whocares probably hoping for a better outcome here. Still got the knockout rounds in the loser side of things. Always come back in the end. But Hyper is going to take this series 2-1. Looking pretty strong here. Whocares looking a little sleep deprived maybe. But he's got 2 power plants and a gravity stabilizer. Scratch that. Just 2 power plants. As soon as these stealth tanks want to hit those reactors, that's it. But Whocares goes and calls EG there. So again, definitely well played there by Hyper, catching the Whocares on a little bit of sleep deprived or something like that. Definitely helps too. If you can take it, do it. Sometimes it's all you need. But that's it for this week, and we'll be back next time with some more Combined Arms.